the Van Oort Contracting 4B of Derek Bornt. 2 rows deep on the inside, the 6 of Robert Bublak Jr. and Don Ronca's number 7. Back in row 3, it'll be James Meehan with a 32C. Slated to be there. We got one car missing up there towards the front. As we take a look at them, the way they come down here off of turn number 4. So Spieshak on the front row, Bornt outside of him, Bublak and Ronca in row number 2. Back in row number 3, it'll be James Meehan and Scott Huber was slated to go on the outside of row 3. That's going to move the 27 of Jeremy Pitts up next to him. Then we got Keith Flack in the 43, the 3J of Mark Johnson in row 4. Row 5, Mike Mahaney and Kenny Tremont. Mahaney in the 35, Tremont in the 115. Row 6, looks like the 19 of Jesse Mueller on the inside, and the 2L of Jack Lehner outside of him. Row number 7, Demetrius Drelos with the 111 car. He goes from the inside, outside of that 7th row. That's where we find the 26 of Derek McCrew Jr. 8 rows deep, our winner a week ago, the 3D of Matty D. Matt DiLorenzo. He starts on the inside of row number 8. On the outside of him, the 18 of Ryan McCartney. 9 rows deep, the 215. That is the Atom Bomb, Adam Pearson. Outside of Pearson, Matt DePew, 667. Then we find the 1 of Mike Ronca, the 2 of Ronnie Johnson, the 21A, our point leader, Peter Britton. As we get ready to go green off of turn number 4. The 14 of C.J. Morey, Billy August, number 50, the 44 of Brandon Daly, and the number 9 car of Vinny Visconti rounding out your starting grid. Coming around to put lap number 1 on the board, it's going to be Jack Spieshak showing the way down here to turn number 1. Spieshak going to be your leader when they exit turn number 2. Down the back straightaway, Robert Bublak and Derek Bornt back there in position number 2 and 3. Up to the corner they come and down off at turn number 4. Good battle shaping up there for second spot is now Robert Bublak looking down to the inside of Derek Bornt into turn number 3. Another good battle back there for position number 4 as the 32C. And we got yellow up on the Speedway. Yellow lights are on. Yellow lights coming on as we got cars up here between turn 3 and 4. One of which is your points leader, your opening night winner, Peter Britton, with the Tom Faxon Excavation, Steve Huff Motorsports 21A car. The Australian competitor up there in turn number 4. Looks like he is up there with the 18 of Ryan McCartney. Couple of cars head pulled away, one of which is Vinny Visconti's number 9. Visconti's 9V car. The 215 of Adam Pearson also pulling away, the Atom Bomb. So we'll see what the issue is if Britton is able to continue on. Looks like the left rear tire may be down on it, but we'll see if there's any damage on the car up there. Britton coming into tonight's event, as I said, your point leader. 12 points separate him and last Friday night's feature event winner, Matt DiLorenzo. Demetrius Drelos, your third place point getter coming into this evening. Jack Lehner in 4th. And Mike Mahaney rounding out your top 5. Then we got a couple drivers tied for 6, Adam Pearson and Mark Johnson. 2 more drivers tied for 8th, Kenny Tremont and Jesse Mueller. Both drivers that have been to victory lane. And rounding out your top 10 is Keith Flack in the 10th position. Folks at home getting a good view of the damage on Ryan McCartney's machine. Here's Peter Britton rolling by on the front straightaway. He'll duck down into the pit area as Britton going to make a stop down here at the hot pit. So Brewerton had started deep in the pack anyway, did not qualify in a handicap position. He had to start, he matched his car number, started 21st on the field. Now young Ryan McCartney in the green filter sponsored number 18 machine. Going to go off on the hook. Field remaining under caution. Taking a look down here to see Brewerton down in the pit area. If he will be able to continue on. Ryan McCartney's car heading back towards the pit area. Brewerton down off the jack and pulling away. He is going to rejoin back here at the tail of the field. So Jack Spieshak, Robert Bublak Jr., both drivers that have not had a lot of good luck here in 2022. They both had very fast race cars, but both of them have been struck by the bad luck bug here in 2022, and they both love to squish that bug in a big way, and by doing so, picking up the win in tonight's modified main event. The Napa Auto Parts Modifieds ready to come back to life down here off of turn number 4. Up into turn number 1 they go. Spieshak picking up where he left off on the front of this one. Bublak there second. Third spot, Derek Bort. As they make their way down into turn number 3, keep an eye on Jesse Mueller. Mueller working the outside of the raceway. Here comes a driver out of the North Country. They work their way up here through turns 1 and 2. Just ahead of Mueller, another driver from the North Country. That's Mike Mahaney. And Mahaney using the outside lane to advance. Up into turn number 1 they go. Mark Johnson just the opposite, right down on the bottom of the raceway. Mark Johnson pulling down to the inside of Derek Bort. Johnson going to take over spot number 3 with car number 3. Johnson to third. He will go on the attack here on Robert Bublak Jr. Johnson looking down low as they get to turn number 3. Bublak up there on the outside groove. Johnson down to the inside. And Mark Johnson will complete the pass and take over the runner-up position. Mark Johnson to second. Bublak back to third. The 4 car of Bourne still sitting there in fourth. Here comes Jesse Mueller once again. He'll pull down even with Mike Mahaney. Mueller and Mahaney making their way up through the pack. We got another one outside of them up off of turn number 2. That's Meehan. Ran out of racing room up here. Meehan way up top. Mahaney sending it on the high side here. Jesse Mueller down on the inside. Mueller and Mahaney racing towards the front. Mahaney going to clear upstairs. He'll work his way around Derek Bort. Mike Mahaney now going to show us your 4th place car. Here comes Jesse Mueller down to the inside. He'll slide by Bort. Trying to take away spot number 5. They work their way down the back straightaway here. Up through turns 3 and 4. A couple of cars making their way through the field in a fast way. We got 10 laps on the board now. As they work their way off of turn number 2, your leader in control. It's all Jack Spieshak here in the early going. Got one showing a lot of smoke. It's Vinny Visconti's car. Back towards the tail of the field. Visconti with a trail of smoke off that 9B. It's getting heavier and heavier. We'll see what happens here. Visconti looks like he's got a grenade with the pin pulled here as they work up off of turn number 2. Leader starting to reel in traffic as Jack Spieshak working down here. Car off the pace to Jeff Daly and Son 44 of Brandon Daly. Jack Spieshak got some daylight up ahead, but he's also got a car fastly approaching him behind. Here comes Mark Johnson. Johnson starting to run down your leader, Jack Spieshak. They get down to turn number 1. Johnson on the inside. He'll try and advance. He doesn't make it that time. He has cut the gap to 2. The 9 of Visconti continuing to show smoke. Looks like maybe a right rear suspension failure there. That could be tire smoke off the Visconti car. Got one off the pace. It's Mark Johnson. Johnson by the wayside for the second consecutive week. Off the pace on the back straightaway. Johnson rolling to a stop. That is going to bring yellow out on the speedway. Yellow lights coming on. Vinny Visconti being shown the black flag, has not heeded it yet. A lot of smoke coming off that machine. We thought first was from the engine compartment. It appears to be a tire rub. But Mark Johnson, midway down the backstretch, has come to a stop. Visconti still staying out on the raceway. Brandon Daly taking the opportunity to go back behind the wall. They're putting the hook to the backside of Mark Johnson's racer. Johnson was in second place, had run down your leader, Jack Spieshak. Johnson started in 10th position, made it to second, and looks like for the second consecutive week, a top finish is going to go out the window for the Guilderland driver, Mark Johnson. A week ago, he was leading the event when the caution came out with 1 to go and under yellow. I believe the report was a broken torsion bar. Excuse me, broken radius rod on the 3J car. And that sidelined him from what would have been a win, if not, even if he gave up the fight. Had what looked to be a win go out the window, and now a second place running position with a lot of laps to go. Still 20 left in this one. So Jack Spieshak, he's led them all so far. We've documented the fact he has had nothing but horrible luck here in 2022. Super fast race car. He's led the event at this point on a number of different instances. And you know, even under caution, he's hearing every creak, every sound, just waiting for the next shoe to drop. Hopefully tonight, the bad luck bug is not riding along on that 08. He's got Robert Bublak Jr., who can pretty much tell the same tale. He's had a fast race car in 2022, but not much to show for it. 2 very fast race cars right behind him. The 35 of Mike Mahaney, the 19 of Jesse Mueller. They came up through together, and right now they're going to mash the gas. Down at turn number 1 they go. It's going to be a side-by-side run for second. Here's Mahaney down to the inside, trying to take the spot away. He'll take second away from the number 6 of Bublak, and now go to work on your leader, Jack Spieshak. Spieshak going to rocket off the top side of the raceway. Mike Mahaney riding there in second as they make their way down into third as third turn as they work their way down off of corner number 4. Up to the corner they go. Your leader, the 08 is Speed Shock. Mahaney rides second. Third is Bublak. Fourth spot, Jesse Mueller. Just behind Mueller, here comes Kenny Tremont, a winner 2 weeks ago, as they come to the halfway sign, this time by. Halfway home in this one. 18 in, 17 remain. Here's Jesse Mueller going to work on Robert Bublak. He'll look down to the inside as they make their way down here into turn number 4. Mueller on the inside, Bublak on the outside. You got a new third place man. It's going to be Jesse Mueller. Mueller goes to third. Fourth spot now is going to be Bublak. Fifth spot, Kenny Tremont works the inside of Keith Flack. Flack trying to high line. He's up there in 6th position. 7th position as they make their way down here across the line. Going to be the 111 at Demetrius Drelos. We got yellow up on the Speedway. Yellow lights are on. Peter Brewerton, right rear tire down on the 21 car, so the problems continue for Peter Brewerton as he's going to go back behind the wall. We'll see if they can make a tire change, make a quick change down there on the 21 car, get him back out. See if that was the only issue on that 21A car. Peter Brewerton going behind the wall with 20 complete. So caution coming out with 15 laps remaining. The 08 of Jack Spishak and the 35 of Mike Mahaney on the front row. Working their way down here under caution. Jesse Mueller back there in third. He is the first driver on the raceway that has been to victory lane thus far in 2022. He's got another driver going to line up behind him, the 115 of Kenny Tremont, who did it just a couple of weeks ago. Keith Flack darn near had one earlier in the year. Flack had a second place finish here early in the year. As the field comes by here under caution, Peter Brewerton already making his way back out of the pit area. He will tack on to the tail when they come by. Ready to go back to green as they make their way down off of turn number 4. Green flag back out. Down to turn number 1 they go. Mike Mahaney going to send it around the high side. He'll keep the momentum going. And you've got a new leader midway down the back straightaway in Mike Mahaney. Mahaney going to try and hold it up to lead him at the line. Here it'll be 21 in, 14 remaining, and Mike Mahaney going to be your new leader. Jack Spishak back to second. Jesse Mueller now in third. Fourth spot going to be the number 6 of Robert Bublak, Kenny Tremont, and Keith Flack right there with him. Tremont showing back there, working the inside of Robert Bublak. Following the tracks of Jesse Mueller up off of turn number 2. Keith Flack rim riding his way up off of turn 2 that time, trying to advance his position as they make their way down here off turn 4. Mike Mahaney working down the back straightaway. Right now, the advantage about 8, maybe 10 lengths. The second place race looking to go side to side as Jesse Mueller is now caught Jack Spishak. Spishak up on the outside trying to hang on to that runner-up position. They go to turn number 3. Spishak up high. Mueller right down on the bottom as they work off of corner number 4. Going to be 10 remaining as they make their way by. 25 are in. 10 remain. Jack Spishak hanging on to second. Jesse Mueller not going to give up. He is right down on the inside rail, trying to take the shortest way around the raceway. They work up here through the corner and off of turn number 2. Kenny Tremont has taken fourth position away from Robert Bublak. Bublak back to fifth. Demetrius Drelos now shows sixth. Seventh spot, Keith Black. Eighth position is Jack Lehner with the 2. Ninth spot, the 27 of Jeremy Pitts. And rounding out your top 10 here in the late stages going to be the 7 of Don Ronca. That's going to be your top 10 run as we close in on 5 to go here in our modified main event. Mike Mahaney working here off of turn number 4. The Adirondack Auto, Tony Monaco Landscaping. Number 35, the George Huddick owned automobile, who campaigned here for a number of years. He was the big winner of the massive weekend. 5 laps to go for Mike Mahaney. Mahaney going to lead the way up here through the south side of the raceway. He may catch traffic here in the next couple of laps, but Jack Spisak has got a long way to go to try and run him down. Mahaney coming up in the tail end of the lead lap as they work their way up off of turn number 2. The first car that he will see will be the 50, the Electric City Taxi sponsored automobile of Billy August. Here's August coming by. Mahaney closing in on him now. Just ahead of August is last Friday night's feature event winner, Matt DiLorenzo. Coming to 2 to go this time by. It'll be 2 laps remaining here for Mike Mahaney. Mahaney down to turn number 1. He'll pull down to the inside of August. He'll go down the back straightaway. He'll clear August, and when he comes to the line, the white silk will fly this time by for Mike Mahaney. One more time around the great race place here for Mike Mahaney, showing the way down the back straightaway. Final time to turn 3 and 4. Your Napa Auto Parts Modified feature event winner is Mike Mahaney.
From Niagara to the Hudson, from Champlain to Erie, from nuclear to farming, High Torque of New York is your one-stop shop for torque tool and industrial bolting needs. Easily loosen or achieve accurate torque and bolt load with pneumatic battery or hydraulic powered units. Serving every industry, mining and aggregates, transportation, energy, structural steel, and rail. On-site torque wrench calibration and repair, sales and rentals, training, bolting solutions, and more.
Well, good evening. Welcome to another episode of Monday Night Modifieds. My name is Mike Mallett alongside Matt Smith. And Matt, I'm not quite sure where to start here. If we want to talk about the controversy on Saturday, you and Eric winning. I don't know. Maybe I'll wait for that one later in the show. We'll see. But great to have you on board here. What a beautiful day. I mean, it makes you want to go racing. Like today is the kind of day that makes you want to go racing. Like it is so nice outside, other than the mud that we're piled in, but it's definitely feels like race season is almost here. Now, of course, we're gonna have a nice day today and tomorrow, and then it's gonna be crap. But hey, still, what can you do? I'll take it.
Yeah, I'm with you. It was cool to see some pictures of people working on their cars today. You know, it definitely brought the bug back to a lot of people to get working and ready for racing. And you know, unfortunately, like you said, it's not going to last all weekend. But yeah, definitely feels like we got our first spring here.
Yeah, I like it. Although I'm not a fan of the change in the time yet. I'm still that one's still messing me up a little bit. And I'm sure with you with the newborn, it's probably messing up the schedule a little bit too.
Yeah, not too bad, but I don't know. I was a fan of it this morning, and then you know you get daylight a little longer, so you have a little bit more opportunity to get stuff done at the end of the day.
Yeah, I think this is the first time we've been live, and I'm looking out my window over to my left, and I can actually see sunlight still. So that's definitely different. That's definitely different. So for those of you joining us here on the live stream, obviously no guests tonight. We want to talk about some topics, give everybody a chance to do a little bit more comment and call in if you'd like. Of course, you can call us at 315-878-7766 and get involved in the conversation. I don't know where you want to start. There's a lot of stuff that came out this last week that people were talking about. We got a lot of, we had some good racing there last week. No modified racing, of course, but we did have some other tracks and things get going. But so what do you want to do here? You want to jump into some news? You want to jump into some results? You want to jump into, we got a little preview here. I took some notes, got some notes on Port Royal, which obviously kicks off the Northeast Modified season this weekend. So we got a lot here. There's a lot to talk about. I got some stuff from NASCAR I want to talk about. It's kind of dirt related. I'm going to make it dirt related, but I'll tie that all together when we get there.
Yeah, let's start off with some news and then maybe roll into some Port Royal stuff we were talking about.
Okay. All right. So news, that would be our what's going on in the world of racing. We had a lot of questions a few weeks ago about New Egypt Speedway. And I was just reading the most recent edition of Area Auto Racing News that came out last Monday. And they had an interview in there with the owner, Fred Valsing. And Fred was kind of laid out what's going on. One of the things I think that was the most disheartening part of the conversation is he said is basically there's going to be no racing this year. That's just more than likely not going to happen. Basically, no racing. He's not going to lease it. He's not going to do any of those kind of things. That is not going to happen this year. So that sucks. Let's just start with that. That part sucks.
For sure.
Yep. The other thing he said is he's trying to get something from the county to basically say that it has to be a racetrack. He kind of talked about why the property is valued at what it is. And for those of you that don't know, it's valued at $8.5 million is what the asking price is. And his reasoning for that is right now it's light industrial, I believe it is. And because it's light industrial, any business come in there, buy it, flatten it, and turn it into whatever light industrial is. You would probably know better as to what that is than me. Mm-hmm. But he said if the county does come through with keeping it and forcing it to be a racetrack, because the county wants to see the racetrack stay there, which is an awesome thing. That's a really good sign that he is willing to lower the price. But for now, until that happens, if the offer comes through that somebody's going to pay him the money, then there it goes.
Right. Yeah. I mean, I remember, when there was rumblings of, Orange County going away, the reason that, I shouldn't say the reason, but we heard a lot that, the reason people were looking at properties that had racetracks is because they were already halfway developed. You know what I mean? So it's kind of a cool deal. Seems like they're putting like a historical twist on it, so they aren't allowed to develop it, but it'd definitely be cool to see some racing there. So hopefully something changes here soon.
Yeah, I'd second that. I used to love, again, New Egypt, one of my favorite tracks to go to. Some random folks have had some track championships there. Matt Shepard ran down there weekly. Brian Weaver from your neck of the woods ran there weekly one year. 1 year I can remember the year Brian Weaver ran down there. He had a shot at the championship, but you're competing against Matt Shepard, and that made it tough. But I remember, back before the cell phones were as good as they are today, and you couldn't call as much. I remember calling, right before you leave, and then I followed Brian Weaver all the way down, through the Southern Tier and down 1795 that whole trip, and then we pull in the parking lot, and it was rained out, and I'm like, that sucks. But thank God, no, modern day for cell phones and all that. Now, with that topic, I brought up rained out weather for a reason. I saw some interesting memes with people talking about racing and the weather, and how, promoters will tell you, again, you ask them on Monday, are we racing this weekend? Yeah, we're racing this weekend. Why is it that we have forgot that the weather changes?
I mean, I don't. This is tough, you know what I mean? Like, it changes so quickly. Just the other day when we were looking at that shoot for Saturday, it was calling for rain all day, all week until Friday. So that obviously was the night before that it had changed. So promoters and track crew, they're put in a tough spot with the whole weather, because everybody's got phones, everybody's got a weather app. everybody's got a TV. And it doesn't matter what weather app you look at. It seems like every single one of them has a different opinion. So people get arguing on Facebook, with, oh, my weather app says this or this one says that. It's tough. They're put in a really tough spot. We all want to go racing, but at the end of the day, they're the ones that have the most risk before anybody even gets there.
Yeah, I mean, I think you and I were joking the last year when I shot with you for the first time. We were talking about the weather, and at one point, we're out in the woods, and it's like 70 degrees. The sun is out. I'm like, I'm telling you, it's gonna rain today. Don't be mad that we canceled, because you were mad. Well, then again, you were off by 0.01 seconds. I believe that's what the split was. But anyways,
I remember that now.
As soon as I said it, yeah, you missed by 0.01 to locking in. But I remember we're standing there, and all of a sudden I'm like, and we got soaked because it started pouring while we were out shooting. So you can't, you make the right calls, don't make the right calls. I mean, it looks like a beautiful weather day, and then it's not, and it's tough. It's tough with the weather, and I get irritated, just as a race fan. Look, we can look at the weather today. We could tell you what's it gonna, what are they saying it's going to be this week, and it's irrelevant. Like, it's irrelevant until we get about 2 days, maybe a day before. And then you're going to know. Now, I'll give them temperature. They're normally in the ballpark, right? But when it comes to rain, all those other things, who the hell knows what's going to happen?
Right. Yeah. Last year, it was one of the early races at Thunder. It said that it wasn't going to rain, and we get there, and then all of a sudden a rain shower popped up, and we didn't start racing until really late. Granted, I think the racing was good that night. But then you get people, we're going to be here all night, and maybe not as happy with the track conditions are dealt with, but you know what I mean? And like I said, it's just, everybody wants to go racing on Friday, Saturday, whatever day it is. And, sometimes the weather doesn't look the greatest, but then the promoters are pushed to make it happen. And, they're dealt with the situation they're dealt with. So you're damned if you do and damned if you don't. So, sometimes it's best not to be in that position.
Adirondack race fan, do not mind if tracks take a chance with weather. However, if they do, then please move along. Okay. Again, I brought up the weather thing just because I was seeing all these posts already about the weekend, and it annoyed me. That's all. Can we just calm down and let things happen? Scott Underwood, good comment there. We'll pop that in for us here, Scott. 50-50 weather days, and the track fights to try and race. Half the crowd don't show up, and there's a hole in the weather can make or break you. It's a risk. Yeah. And that's kind of what my take is here. Like, don't think on Monday that this is how it's going to be. Give it some time. Let it play out before you start making plans and say, this is what we're going to do. We're not going to the races. It's going to rain all weekend, or, because you don't know, especially Monday, Tuesday, and track promoters in a tough spot. I already saw the post from the short track super series, Port Royal this weekend, talking about, hey, we're going to get with the track crew. We're going to see what happens Wednesday, Thursday, if they get rain, how much rain, all those things. Okay. So that means that, what that tells me as someone, that's been in the promoter thing, the people are questioning whether or not they're going to go already because they saw rain at some point. And that's, it drives me nuts a little bit, but we can move on from that topic. I don't need to stick with it. I mean, I'm just kind of, I was on it. I had it on my list of things I wanted to talk about because it annoyed me today when I was scrolling Facebook looking for other things and news notes, etc. So another Scott, again, agree with you. Some races travel a long ways. Yeah, it is. It is. It's costly. It's costly for everybody. I mean, I think most people prefer, if you're going to cancel, just do it in the morning. Be done. Just be done. I agree with that statement. Save everybody money. If you're leaning that way, just do it. Let's see. I got to eat a little crow this week, and I'm using this to kind of lead into a little bit of results. We didn't have a lot of racing. We had some late model sprint cars. I want to talk about the sprint cars because I had a really happy Saturday night with that. Okay, and a really happy weekend with that one. But Friday night, I should say, I was crapping on Jonathan Davenport for spinning out all by himself at Bubba Raceway Park, or Ocala Speedway. Sorry. And what's he do? He comes back and wins 3 races at Golden Isle. I'm sorry. I will never talk smack about JD again.
I mean, I don't know that you can say he spun out on his own.
Again, well, whatever it was, I called him out for it. So I'm eating the crow because he came back and won 3 races. I'm owning up to my mistake.
Yeah, usually that seems to be his theme. You know, people start to weigh in on opinions with him, and he makes a lot of people look silly. But you know, he was definitely really good at Golden Isles, and then that last night had probably been one of the most entertaining races of the year, and might even top the chart as far as what happened in one single night. So we'll have to see.
Yeah, and what was it? Devin Moran won it, but the kid that was leading flipped it right in turn one.
They had like I'm not going to say cushion, but almost like a shelf built into like the last 2 feet of the track. And I don't know if he got over it or if his deck got up on top of the wall and it lifted his car enough, but he started to spin, and then Hudson O'Neal had nowhere to go and just ended up flipping him. But yeah, that sucks. He had a really good run going. He was really earning that. He started 7th, I think. And then he passed all the greatest guys in the country right now. So, you know, you can't say that he got it on restarts or the guys in front of him wrecked him. He smoked them guys and was walking away with it. And it's super unfortunate that happened.
Yeah, it sucked. It killed a good race because I mean they were slide job, and it was again. I'm not the biggest late model guy, but that was a good one.
Mm-hmm.
So Deb Moran won that one. That was the finale. And then of course Kyle Bronson finally got one, so his wiener shirt will sell better. So he's good there.
They had a stat too on that race Saturday night that Devin won. He came from 22nd or 20th to win, and then Max Blair that finished second came from like 25th, and they hadn't had a race in 6 years that anyone or outside the top 20 starting spot had actually won a race. So that was pretty
That's
neat.
wild to me. I mean, I guess we're fortunate. You know, we can bag on modified racing because a lot of people do, but we see a lot of guys come from deep in the field to win races. I mean, we already saw one this year at, you know, with Larry starting dead last and coming up through and getting that win, you know, at Alltech, you know, but we're fortunate. I mean, look, these are the best drivers in the country, right? In the late model class. So obviously it's much more difficult to pass cars and come through a field, right? You're not passing your weekly racer with your professional racers. You know, there are some weekly racers in the field at all these places. Don't get me wrong, but it's a little different, you know, especially when the faster guys like Bishop, Davenport, they start up front. You know, they're going to start up front because they're going to time well. They're going to do all those things. But we're fortunate. I mean, there's a lot of passing in modified racing, and you know, and that's a crazy stat to me that no one's come from that far back. I'd love to see what the last time somebody in the Super Dirt Car Series did it. I bet you it's more recent than that. I would put money on it.
Yeah, I'm with you. I don't think it's been that long.
No, nope. So that's the late models. Lucas Oil again. Great job there at Golden Isle. I've been to Golden Isle once. I did get to see the modifieds there. That was the one and done. A lot of cars, no fans. You know, no fans when I was there for the modifieds. But that's a tough sell in the South. If you don't have late models of some kind of late model or something going on, good luck. You know, getting a lot of fans in the stands. Lincoln did race again. They raced on Sunday because of weather on Saturday. Chase Dietz 2 for 2 in Pennsylvania. Kyle Moody, Brock Zierfoss. Big thing out of that one was Anthony Macri didn't make it out of the heat. Done. You know, after the hot start he's kind of had to the season. You know, expected a little bit more there. He's
not tied to a series, right?
Macri? No, he's run what you brung.
Good for him.
Run what you brung. Yep. Yeah, no, he's a true outlaw, which is cool.
He's like the silent assassin. He wherever he goes, he's
good.
Yeah,
he's good. You know, and again, and you have that. You know, I've heard Jeremy Elliott talk about it on Tuesday nights on Sprint Car Unlimited Live. You know, he talks about Macri just wanting to be able to sleep in his own bed a lot. So he doesn't want to be on the road, doesn't want to follow the tour. He just wants to do his thing, you know, and that's pretty badass. Now, my favorite win of the week, which shouldn't be too hard to figure out, is Donnie Schatz. Donnie Schatz back and that's why I wore my Knoxville fleece tonight, because we're getting ready. I'm already high hopes that Donnie's going to come back to Knoxville and put a whooping on him. So I'm already pumped. Donnie's back. He's got one win. He's ready to go. Donnie Schatz, here he comes.
Can't count that guy out at Knoxville.
No,
ever.
Nope. I mean, he's
gonna have to take the steering wheel away from him.
Yeah. Yep. So again, Donnie Schatz won it. They with Talladega Short Track over Sheldon Haudenschild, who's rebounded nicely from the opening week where he sucked. Buddy Kofoid, Bryce Lucius, name don't hear very often, and then Garrett Williamson the field there. And I think that's all of our results that anybody cares about. or maybe there's some others I missed out there, but I think I got everything. So that was a good weekend there. Good weekend for again, to see Donnie back in victory lane for me it's like, okay, he didn't lose it. He's good. It's been a tough couple of years, or a tough last year, seeing everything that went down there, obviously losing the ride with TSR and then kind of patching things together and running with, basically one car, one motor the rest of the year. That was tough to see, but good to see him get back to victory lane with a new team. And I don't know if it's a sign of things to come, but I'm going to assume that he's going to get more than one win this year. I'm going to go out on that tree branch, and I think that's a pretty big, thick around tree branches. He's got more in him.
Do you have a over/under on 5 wins?
Over/under on 5 wins.
I'm gonna go with 5. Yeah, give me your over.
5 is a tough number. He didn't have any last year.
Mm-hmm.
Eric's saying under. I would tend to believe under. I mean, it's hard to believe at this point. What's Gravel got? None, right? Gravel got 0. That's wild to me. That's wild.
He didn't win a Volusia?
No, which is the shock of the whole thing. Jay Ken, what year did the big blocks race at Volusia or Golden Isle? Big block modifieds at Golden Isle Speedway. I'm going to look it up for you. I'm not sure. I want to say I can't even remember who won, and I know I was there. I announced the damn thing. I know Greg Hodnett was still alive because I had a conversation with Greg. I think I've told it on this show, chatting with Greg Hodnett. Like, oh, Greg, good luck tomorrow. I'm going to Golden Isle, watch modifies. And he was like, why would you want to do that?
Did you figure it out?
No, still looking here. Typing it. 2:15:16. Holy crap. Golden Isle, Danny Johnson, Brett Hearn, Billy Pouch, Matt Shepard, Matt Williamson, Rudolph, Larry White, Perego, Hetzler, 21 cars, it looks like.
Not televised anywhere, I assume.
It was not streamed anywhere. I mean, this is pre-streaming for us.
Mm-hmm.
2015, 2016. There we go. I'm going to go 2016. I mean, I can't believe it was that long ago. It was February 15th, 2016. So much like Alltech, it was kind of on the way down. Yeah, so... and again, unfortunately, it was a one and done, but it was a cool experience to say we've been there. I mean, my favorite part is, GT Smith, one of the owners of DTD, asked the promoter, he's like, hey, where can I stand to take pictures? He's like, I don't care. Just don't get run over. That was literally the safety guidance. Just don't get run over. I got that in the DTD forum, if you're wondering. So if you search things and you have the right names, you can go and you can pull that out. Let's see what else is on my bag of tricks for today. I got a lot. You want to talk crate motors first, or do you want to talk? Should drivers have to have tests?
Which one? Let's go with the crate motors first.
Okay, so Mike Bruno, promoter at Adirondack Airborne. Adirondack's north of me here. I've been there too, but Airborne Park or Airborne and at Devil's Bowl. He put out a post this week talking about the cost of crate racing and how, right now crate motors are $8,500, the GM 602 crate. His argument was that you could build one if you let guys build them themselves or buy spec parts. You can build it for $3,000 less. What's your thoughts on that?
I can't confirm or deny what the cost of that.
Yeah, you don't buy crates, so you don't know, right? But
but I'm not even saying just the crate engines. I'm saying, if you were to get spec parts and build it your own, if you were to go to a third-party engine builder or even build it yourself, I don't know. I don't know that would be any cheaper, especially when you get down the road of, you got to have this part or that part because it failed for this many people. Like, it's really tough to say and have an opinion as an outsider looking in on what would be cheaper and what would be best for the
right. Club. Yeah, I'm in the same boat. Like, I don't know
where do you draw the line to say this is the route we're going to go. This might be cheaper to do it this way, but it's more consistent here, and it's we're kind of leveled off with the tech. I mean, I don't know. I'm kind of out of the game with even hearing what people are doing with crates and what you can and can't do and what seals are required and the whole 9 yards. I'm really not sure.
Yeah, if Mike talks about it, usually Mike is on point. Like if you look at his stuff, I mean, they do really, really good tech up there at those tracks when it comes to the sportsman class. He runs sportsman on what is it, the Thursday nights at Airborne with the 358s, and then obviously the sportsman modifieds headline his racing on Saturday nights at Devil's Bowl. And obviously the big deal last year with Cedric Govro and everything that happened there. Maybe that was 2 years ago now. I think maybe it was 2 years ago now, but where he caught, obviously the engines teched or sealed and they pulled it apart. And yeah, seals were irrelevant on that one based on what they found. So I don't know. I mean, I would, if he's given that number, I would think he's pretty in the ballpark. And I know there was a ton of discussion about that all over the place. People sharing that post and all of that. Now he's not changing the rules. Like he put out another post saying we're not doing this, but he was having the conversation about that. So I would think I would guarantee he's spot on or in the ballpark. I just don't know what motor builders cost to put a motor together or any of that kind of stuff. For a sportsman, I mean, a modified, I can tell you kind of general, but when it comes to sportsman motors, I don't know, it'd be a fun conversation to have. When we have the car show this weekend, I'm sure there'll be some motor builders wandering around. We could probably have that conversation.
Yeah. And, I feel like I was in the tail end of what were they? The Open Sportsman.
Mm-hmm.
I was in the tail end of that. And it was even, guys were talking about, guys doing different things and not teching or not knowing what to look at. I feel like that, just based on how the crate is now, everything's sealed and comes from a place sealed. So, I mean, why go away from that? If the only
but obviously, again, we've seen that people are cheating them. I mean, that's and look, I know the reputable motor builders are not doing that. There's a lot of, there's a lot of different, builders. Obviously they're certified. The builder that did this one got kicked out of the program, and you lost all your business. You lost your ability to do anything for dirt car, which, let's be fair, in this area up north, I mean, I think it was from Western Canada. I want to say they were from Ontario. But motor builders do not want to run that risk, of cheating those up, because again, you're out, you're done. There's no coming back from that. Like you lose, if you're one of the suppliers, and that there's got to be money to be made there, I would assume, or nobody would do it. Right.
Right. Yeah. I mean, I don't know. Like I said, that crates are tough. I mean, I don't know. Nothing's cheap. Nothing's easy. Tech has to be on point. It seems like at all times. And, I don't know. It seems like things could get away or could get carried away with that scenario. But then again, I guess you see with the standard rules package that people still cheat. So it's tough. It's really tough.
Well, look, I think in all honesty, people are cheating. It's irrelevant what division, what class. The people are cheating out there. They think they need that edge, whatever. And then you look at the guys that win a lot, in the sportsman ranks, they've all been torn down to the nuts and bolts, right? And they find nothing, right? So all this talk about cheat, they're cheating, they're doing this. Look, the tech at these big races that these guys win for a lot of money is usually really, really good. And if they're not finding anything when they take that car down and they scope it and all the other things that they do to these things, I don't believe those guys are cheating, and obviously other guys are cheating to try to catch up, right? That would be to me what they're doing.
Yep.
So there's the crate motor discussion. See some people asking, oh yeah, Chris Curtis, there, you got it. I was going to say the only other one I would say is LJ Lombardo. They're talking about Lebanon Valley, who drives the 35 small block and big block. Chris Curtis. Yeah, Chris Curtis used to be LJ Lombardo, but now I think he drives a 7NY more often or 7CT more often than not now. But does run his own car occasionally, 35 car. All right, so I was watching the NASCAR race. Part of it, slept through some of it. Your typical, hey, I got nothing better to do on a Sunday afternoon, so I'm going to watch NASCAR. Mm-hmm. They were at Phoenix, and just kind of scrolling, looking at some other things while I'm watching. And there was a video of Kyle Busch being asked about Cletus McFarland. You know who that is, right? Did you see that?
Yeah.
And he was asked about, Cletus McFarland should, he's got to pass a test to be able to race a cup car, right? He had to go through a test. And when you look at, when you hear kind of the conversation from Kyle, He's like, look, I'm happy he's got the money to come do this, whatever. But at the end of the day, what's he got? 10 races, and he's basically like, my kid's got more races than that, so how can we, go through the approval, or is this just, hey, you got enough money, you can come run NASCAR now? Like that was kind of the conversation they had. I think you would agree, kind of the same thing.
Yeah. I mean, I saw it might've been Kyle Busch, but it wasn't involved with Cletus McFarlane within the last year. And it pretty much said, it can be a little scary letting guys like that racing at 180 to 200 miles an hour. And, it's more than just having the money to do it, and I mean, these guys are professionals. They've been doing it all their lives. And like he said, his kid probably has more races than him. Not saying he's not a good racer, but in the grand scheme of things, these guys are doing it for a living. They're trying to be as safe as possible. And, he did say too, like the last time he raced, he wrecked himself fairly early in the race. And, if I was in that position and, trying to race for wins and championships, and knowing that you might be racing with someone that hasn't ever really done it and they just kind of got thrown into it, it definitely would raise a question. And, if you had I feel like it's different in the dirt world,
and that's where I was going here. Like,
if you had a guy that was really new, let's just say his third ever race in a race car in general was in a modified at Canandaigua, collectively, I feel like you might have a group of people or the entire field at a driver's meeting say, hey, look, man, like, how about you just, go out after the races, we might even help you out with some driving techniques, but let's maybe not go out and race this right now. But it doesn't seem like you can do that with the NASCAR. They'll let you run, a few laps around a 2.5 mile track and set you loose.
Yeah. So that was going to be where I led this. Should there be tests in dirt racing? Like, should Northeast Modified, should we have a test if a driver wants to move up and compete at the next higher level?
I mean, if they've already, you just kind of said that they're moving up to another level. So
look, I'm saying from go-karts to sportsman, or go-karts to limited sportsman to modified. Like, should there be some kind of rules that we have in place to ensure that, hey, this guy can handle this guy can do this with the car? Again, I'm just thinking of the NASCAR model and how they were talking about it, and how, he's getting approved, but at the end of the day, should it be? I don't know. I don't know enough about Cletus McFarlane, what he done. I think he was in the truck race, right? Was it the truck race he wrecked, or the Xfinity race? One of those, right? Yeah. And he's run ARCA a bunch, right? Eric's shaking his head. Yeah. So I trust Eric. He does a NASCAR podcast, so he could tell me if I'm right or wrong here. Yeah. So, our racing, different level, right? Different level. We're not running 2.5 mile tracks. We're not out there drafting at 200 miles an hour. We're not doing any of that. But we have had conversations here about who should start up front. We have like handicapping, all those different things. We've had those conversations about who should be able to start up front, who shouldn't, etc. So, is this something that, maybe, let's say dirt car, right? They're the largest sanctioning body going. Is this something they should look and be like, well, maybe we shouldn't just allow somebody to come right from sportsman after 5 races and run a modified, or you know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, it's not really like a test deal, but aren't they, the sportsman guys are limited on how many mod races they can do? And
they can do 6. I think it's 6. They can do 6 modified races before they're ineligible to race a sportsman. I think it's 6.
Mm-hmm. I mean, with our stuff, it's a learning curve. I mean, it is a learning curve with the NASCAR deal, but like, if you're coming from a sportsman, you at least have general idea of car control I would say probably 75 to 80% of the speed that you're doing in a modified. You're not getting off a corner near as hard and having to control it maybe as much,
right?
In my experience, but you've got a really good idea of what the car is going to do. And you're not doing 200 miles an hour.
Right.
So, I mean, should we have something? I can't answer that yes or no, because I think it's dependent on the driver. You know what I mean? If I was reckless and out of control, I would hope that, people that own my car, parents, car owner, whatever, would be like, hey, it's not time yet.
Right. So we got some comments on this. Let's see. We'll start with Cody Decker. He is not a Kyle Busch fan, so let's go ahead and we'll give Cody some. Kyle Busch has always been a whiner. says the guy that jumps down 2 divisions to cherry picking trucks against young bucks just coming in and trying to race their way to a top. That's a whole nother conversation of dropping down divisions. I mean, we could have that. I see that debate all the time in modifieds. Like, why is a guy? What just kicked on over there? Is it your air compressor kicking on?
That's my brother's. My bad.
Nice job. Way to go.
Right.
Nice little hum. Nice hum in the background. You're doing great over there. Truly in the race shop. It's all right. We're fine.
Mm-hmm. I knew it wasn't mine. I'm looking at the switch right here.
No, but like again, we've heard the debate in dirt racing. Cody's upset about Kyle dropping down, but we hear the conversation in dirt racing, like modified guys running 358s. We don't really see a lot of 358 guys drop down to run sportsman. That doesn't happen because again, you're not allowed. Like Chris Holsizer said 6 or 8. Yeah, I knew it's 6 or 8. Then you're kind of stuck. You have to run modifieds. Now you can go to non-sanctioned tracks and those kind of things. And if you only run one class, they're not going to give you a hard time, right? They're going to let you kind of do what you want. But I don't know. I mean, look, to me, modifieds are modifieds. Big block 358, it doesn't matter. I mean, we run them together at how many different tracks? So to me, it's the same class. I don't have any issue with guys dropping down, running big blocks and 358s. Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, like if you're that Kyle Busch ordeal, like if I was those guys in the trucks, I'd be kind of anxious to race with them. You know what I mean? To see if I could keep up, to see where I kind of stacked up.
Right. I mean, it's still a high. I mean, truck racing's still a high level. It's not like they're dropping down. I mean,
you're not. It's not the rookie level. I'm going to say, you're professional. It's not entry level. It's not rookies. There's rookies there, but it's still a highly professional form of racing. You're not going slow. You're hauling the mail.
Right.
And you're learning the technique and whatever else that you need to move up. And if you had a guy like Kyle in there that goes in and makes him look silly, I'm going to venture to say it's not necessarily because he has something that's, half a second faster everywhere he goes with the trucks when he just hops in. He's just, in my opinion, that much more talented, whether I like him or not.
Yeah, I look, I'm not a fan. I like that he has his kid running dirt and that kind of stuff. I think that's cool. Love it. I'd like to see more guys in dirt racing, so I'm good with that. I like that that's kind of where they started. Chumley said 4 ARCA starts and got approved for trucks, then crashed 6 laps at Daytona. Somehow got approved to run Xfinity just after. Well, somehow, some way, he got in, right? I mean, let's be fair. He's got the money, right? That's the biggest thing with NASCAR. And 2, he's got name recognition. Right now,
I think a lot of that has to do with viewership. That guy's built a multi-million-dollar, multi-million viewer YouTube following. And he's, if he posts a video one weekend of a Crown Vic race during COVID and he's getting, hundreds of thousands or millions of people watching it, and you see the viewership that NASCAR shares with the trucks, why wouldn't you add that guy? You're taking free viewership from his YouTube stuff and just pulling it over to the NASCAR stuff, and you've already seen it with what he has done. So
what was the guy that came and ran Fonda with the red
belly?
Ginger belly. I knew you would know. I mean,
that guy pops up on my Facebook. He's pretty funny. But it's that same kind of thing. You're seeing people, and we're getting a little off topic here, but you're seeing, social media influencers on like major TV corporation commercials. Like, why do you think that is? It's because of the viewership that they pull on social media, not the people that nobody's going to know them, or not as many people are going to know them on TV, but you're getting these influencers running like, cereal commercials or highly used, products and stuff like that you don't necessarily see. You have normal actors doing stuff like that.
Yeah, Eric just mentioned, our producer, he had 40,000 people watching his live NASCAR in-car cam when he wrecked. Okay, that's pretty. I mean, for a guy in the race, that's pretty good for a guy in a truck race. 40,000 people. We got a question here. Kind of piggybacking this, should there be an age limit in dirt track racing? And then Bear Racing down below commented, kind of hard to enforce an age rule when there are also young teens winning races and modifieds too. That to me is the hard part. Like what age is
isn't there a minimum age? Isn't it 12 or something like that?
I don't know if there is. I think it's the track and the insurance, right? At the end of the day, I know that's what it was back in the day at Utica Rome. Like you had to be a certain age, it was like 12 or 13 before you could drive a full-size car. But I don't know, New Jersey, we did get mentioned here, New Jersey, JS Racing 61. New Jersey has age rules, but New Jersey is hardcore controlled by the state police. Like they do safety checks. They do age stuff. The only time they give exemptions for that age stuff is if someone's following like a national series. And then they say, okay, they'll give you an exemption. Because I want to say back in the day, Larry White had some issues with New Jersey because of his age when he first started racing. But I want to say it was Bridgeport. Again, that was, obviously a long time ago. But yeah, the age rule thing is tough, because we do see some young kids. I mean, I think one night at Utica Rome, the sportsman field, I know it was limited sportsmen, but like the average age of the top three was like 15, and they're winning races. I mean, we see Logan Watt, who's, pretty good wheel. He's still in high school racing, so can you draw a line there? Can you, I don't know. I mean, I think it goes back to, do guys have experience, right? Like, it's kind of scary, but if they have a ton of experience racing, it's hard to say no to them if they've come up the right way, to me. Now, if you're just putting them in a sportsman and going out there, that's tough, and again, got a couple more people chatting here. Mike Trashhold's kid is 10, running a limited sportsman at Utica. Jansen's kid is in that age group doing the same thing. Nathan Rogers is young, and he's jumping up to 358s this year at Can-Am. I mean, so yeah, there's a lot of different, young kids that are successful, that are doing well. So it's hard, but at the same time, you kind of want some kind of restrictions here. Let's see. Okay, so here we go. Tanner Van Dorn. There aren't any rules besides depending on track. I know there is one at Orange County. He sent it to me on Facebook. OC 14 and stuff, but besides Jersey is the only place that has the age rule. Okay, so that clarifies that. He would know because he started racing at a young age. And there's a kid, again, I wouldn't say that shouldn't have been racing at a young age. I mean, he was winning races in the sportsman at Orange County. I mean, he won the Eastern States portion. And Derek Cormier, sim racing has changed the game. I will say has definitely changed the game. The fact that you can get in a sim and turn laps. Now, I do not believe it is anything like driving a real race car, but it gives you a little bit of an idea, I guess. I don't know. Like I've never driven a race car, and you don't play the sim, so this is a hard conversation for you and I to have.
No, I don't. I haven't been in a sim much. I know like the technology for that stuff is getting pretty wild. I've seen they're called active sims, where like the thing spins in circles and you're like 5 feet off the ground, and it's like it's literally live. It knows how to react to different shocks and springs, and you're in rock buggies and NASCAR cars, sprint cars, late models, whatever you want to do in the thing. And then your typical sims like you got, they're pretty neat too. Yeah. But I don't think the one time that I used yours, like the wheel input, it didn't feel anything like the real thing. Yeah.
That, and the TVD just said another comment. Put these in the chat, TVD, so other people can see your comments. But he said, it's not even close. So, Androtic race fan, hard to draw a line. Some kids are leased for the cars, while some are not. I'm assuming good enough for the cars, while some are not, and that's a fair thing. I think we're the only. I don't know. We call ourselves. I don't think we can say we're a. It's tough to say we're a professional sport. I mean, can I go that far to say that? I mean, there are guys making a living, but it is not a. It's not a whole bunch, right? It's not like the entire series or every guy at the dirt track is making a living.
Mm-hmm. I mean, it's not that it's definitely professional, but to the level of, comparatively speaking, to the level of other divisions, it's definitely not the same. But it's definitely a professional division.
Yeah. I mean, I'll give you that. I have this debate with my buddy over at Sprint Car Unlimited, Jeremy, all the time. We talk about, is dirt racing professional? And sometimes you're like, yeah, look at this. And then other times you're like, something stupid happens. You're like, yeah, that wouldn't happen at anything professional. And TVD just said this is easier, so I'm going to keep texting you here. Thanks, TVD. Appreciate it. I got to keep clicking back.
He's a young guy. He needs to figure out how to get on.
We've learned he can't figure out anything. Okay.
How is he watching and listening at the same time, but not able to comment?
Well, he is able to comment. He's commenting like sending
I
it
know, but
via
it's not in the show comments here.
I know.
It's kind of blowing my mind here.
It's TVD, man. Don't ask questions. All right. Don't ask questions. Let's see. JS Racing, dirt minimum rule is 14 years for big blocks, 358s. NASCAR weekly license is also 14. Some tracks run outlaw for limited late models to allow younger kids in. Okay. All right. Fair enough. And 14, that's right. Because when I was thinking Utica Rome, I knew the age was young, and we were NASCAR sanctioned there for a little bit. So they definitely had, some different rules when we had NASCAR as our insurance provider and kind of all those different things. I mean, I think this is an interesting discussion because it is, I guess, the ultimate outcome is it's a case by case basis. I mean, that's really kind of where we're at, right? And that kind of gets me back to where we started this conversation with, McFarland getting approved. Like, should we look at every guy and say, hey, this guy, go out there, run some laps, see how you do, and kind of go from there? I mean, I still think there's going to be a huge difference between running laps by yourself and running around other cars.
There's a huge difference. That was one of the things that when I first got into racing that I struggled with. You go out and turn laps and your confidence is at an all-time high, and then you go to race with somebody and you're like, oh, how do I pass this guy, without hitting him? So it's tough,
John Tiff, Tyler Dipper was 14 for 3 years so he could race. That's a funny one. That's a good one. That's a good one. I can't remember if I know there was some age things going on there, but I'll laugh at that. That was good. That was good. Yeah, Derek, if they can hold the line and aren't dangerous, let them rip, but tracks must police it. I agree with that. I mean, there should be, signed some rules as to why, or where you start and all of those things. Again, like we've talked with the handicapping, we've had long handicapping discussions on this show already. And one of the big things was, people want to see, if you don't belong up front, you shouldn't be up front. And I think that argument's kind of made. But if you can hold the line and kind of stay around other people, maybe not starting up front, but I have no problem with you starting in the back, if you qualify and kind of earn your way in there, and kind of race, yeah. Kevin said that's seat time, Matt.
Yeah, that's how you learn. You know what I mean? That's why the conversation's so tough, and it sounds like you're contradicting yourself when you go back and say certain things, because you need seat time to get better. But like I said, it's tough because you're contradicting yourself. But like that Cletus deal, I think it's more of a viewership thing, and than anything, he brings in the viewership, and you're, not to sound negative, but a little bit of the stereotypical fan with the NASCAR and the do it for Dale thing. Like it's cool. Like I pay attention to it. I mean, obviously you do too, or else you wouldn't see it. So
right. Well, look, I saw it because it kind of popped up, and it was one of the conversations that was had. And again, I still see all the NASCAR stuff. It's probably because we talk NASCAR here a little bit. And again, I have been watching. So obviously your phone is listening to everything that's going on around you as you're with your phone. So, that's kind of it.
Yeah, I mean, he's got a following. I think, whether he's racing or pit reporting or doing whatever, something silly at a race, people are wanting to see what he's saying and what he's doing. So if you're putting him in the race and you're trying to get to him through the radio and see what he has to say as he's doing 180 miles an hour, I can see where that's entertaining for people and want to watch it,
Yeah. John Sliney said back in the day, kids ran mini stocks, etc. That's because what parents could afford. Then as you grew up and you started paying for your own stuff, you raced what you could afford. Wasn't a lot of paid rides back in the day. No, that's accurate too. I think, the money deal has changed racing a little bit. I mean, and I think the other thing is you don't have mini stocks or any of those kind of feeder classes anymore. And if you're going to spend that money, you might as well buy a Sportsman, right? I think that's why kids start in Sportsman. They kind of jump from the Slingshots to the Sportsman. Just because if you're going to spend the money on a car, you might as well just get the Sportsman because that's where you want to end up anyways. So you might as well just do that. Raymond Rosenberg, two young drivers in New Jersey that had to go through a bunch of tests and stuff. James Blewett and also Paulie Hardwick, and they're still in school. Yeah, I mean, I've seen Paulie, I want to say won a race in Florida in the asphalt modified. Kid definitely has some talent. Can definitely drive a race car, and no doubt there. and James Blewett, I haven't seen him enough to know yet, but I'm assuming Jimmy's kid. Jimmy, a very talented racer in New Jersey area, traveled all over, also very good asphalt modified driver. What was the one about kids in the pits? Where'd that go? We Go Racing Fan Club. What's your opinion on allowing young kids in the pit area? Well, Matt, you got a newborn. Go ahead and answer this one first.
I'm okay with it. I think at some point there used to be an age restriction. I heard way back in the day there was, but Jeremy's kids, they've come into the pits a few times and we're pretty strict with them. We're yelling at them, telling them, hey, do not go beyond the back of the car without somebody with you. And they respect it. So, it's a level of respect that you need to teach at a young age. And if they don't have it, then they don't belong in the pits. So it's, dependent on the, parties that are watching these kids. And, like I said, they got to respect it.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. I think every kid's different, right? Every kid is different. And you can have some kids that are fantastic in the pits that know, hey, stay out of the way. Don't work. They know better. And then other kids maybe probably shouldn't be there, just because they're not, they're not paying attention. They're not looking for cars coming at them. Even, as an adult, when you're in the pit area, you got to have your head on a swivel. You are looking around. I'm always watching or walking as tight to the race cars as I can be when I walk through the pits. If anything's going on the track, I try to, you try to do that. Derek Cormier, some of the kids up on the mountain in those 600s look like they're 7 and would smoke some mod guys. Yeah, those kids, some of those kids are young running those 600 modifieds. So there you're kind of getting, getting into it there with the age group of some of the drivers. Like, if you have slingshots in the pits, you're going to have kids in the pits because that's who runs them. You go to any 600 track. Half of them are kids, half of them are, guys my age. Let's see. Cody Decker's still going. Let's see. What do you got? Let's see what Cody's got a long one here. So it's going to take up half the screen. It's much deeper than just talent aspect. It's dangerous letting young kids jump into the big leagues just because they have the money. It takes away from the entire curriculum of driving and working your way to the top. Not to mention they don't have respect for the guys that had to earn their way the hard way. It's like giving everyone a participation trophy. There always has to be a professional field of top guns and a traveling circus that you have to claw your way through the ranks to get to. I don't disagree, with your comment. I think that's a byproduct of modern racing. I think modern racing is very different, much more aggressive than racing was when we were younger.
Yeah.
You're doing some things you can see it with the World of Outlaw sprint cars, the younger kids, how, like a Buddy Kofoid, how he drives compared to a Donnie Schatz, right? So it's the aggression that has come with racing. And I think there's a lack of the respect in racing that there used to be too, because guys on Saturday and Sunday go out there and they drive like idiots and, nobody does anything. Nobody says anything. And, no matter what we say or how much we can all hate NASCAR, that is still the pinnacle of our sport. In terms of the weekly racer, none of those guys, I don't see a ton of people walking around wishing I could run an Indy, or run an Indy car. It's NASCAR. So there's still eyeballs on that. Even if we don't like it or we don't care about it, there's still a ton of people in this sport that watch that. And when you see the guys race like that every week, and it's okay for the professionals to do it on TV, so, why isn't it okay for me?
I remember watching last year and, seeing guys wrecking each other and just not lifting. It causes a domino effect. And when you're going that fast, I think a wreck is inevitable when there's a little bit of squirreliness, but it just when you're coming on the last lap, I remember watching the races at, I think it was New Smyrna and then the stuff at Daytona and through all the ranks of that asphalt stuff. If you get to the last lap and you're not on someone's quarter panel, moving them out of the way, then you're getting crap for not wrecking the guy. And it's like, why are we promoting that?
Well, right. Why is that what we want?
Yeah. So then, and you see it on Sunday too with the NASCAR stuff, obviously I think it started a lot longer ago when probably the 80s and 90s with like the Dale Earnhardts and stuff, wreck them, get them out of the way and, kind of chuckle at it. But I don't think I would never on purpose wreck somebody on the last lap because I had a bumper on somebody. I think that's the etiquette that, people see within the NASCAR stuff that they think, oh, well, NASCAR didn't even find that guy for doing that because he said, oh, well, I was under there and he didn't lift. So they're pointing the finger at each other. So I think that's where things get crossed up. with kids watching NASCAR, and then, you know, you throw Kyle Larson and Christopher Bell and all the guys that go to the Chili Bowl, and you could be, I don't know, 10, 12 years old racing those guys if you're good enough and you qualify. I think there's definitely etiquette that needs to be learned before you can race with those guys.
Yeah.
That goes all the way back to the Cletus thing. Like, there's got to be something other than just running some laps, you know. Maybe that Thursday or Friday when they're all doing their testing or their qualifying, go out for 20 laps with everybody, and then we'll see how you do.
Yeah, I agree. You know, and a couple other, Chris Holsizer made a good point about kids in the pits. Stay in the trailer, don't go past the back. Yep. So there's your rule. Chris is on the same thing. Derek Cormier, there's nothing better than a young kid stopping into your pit. Now that I agree with, but I don't think we can do it during the races unless there's a parent there. Now, if you go to Quebec, which I don't think you've been to a race in Quebec, Matt, you have like most of the, like you can buy a pit pass with your kid, bring your beer into the pits and you're drinking beer and you're carrying your little kid chugging a beer, walking through the pits of Grant. Yeah, Eric, that's correct. Like I can remember when we're up there with ESS, we're doing heat in the motors and you just got people walking down through the center of the pit. No idea that there's race cars moving and warming up their engines, like getting pushed off and all that other stuff. It is the wildest thing in the world. And there's also a bar in the pits with a sign that says 2 drink maximum for all drivers.
I heard that, but I wasn't going to mention it.
Oh, I'll mention it. I don't care. I've seen the sign and I chuckle every time I see it on the next to the bar in the pits. Like, gotta love Quebec. All right, so we got some other stuff coming in. I think we've kind of covered this topic. You happy with where it's gone? I knew that would get some debate going and discussion.
Can you talk about it for a long time? Yes. Is there an answer from the show? No,
because again, I think every Eric, I also limit myself to 2 drinks by iRacing. Try 3, Eric. You'll be better. I promise. Let's see. So Jeff Withy asked, what's the latest with Billy Decker for 2026? Call Billy Decker.
Yeah, I was just going to say, if you have his number, call him
up. We know he's got a car. He's got a car sitting in the shop ready to go. So if at any point Billy Decker wants to get back in the race car, he can do that. Mm-hmm. So that's fact. And if there's anyone that wants to see Billy, as much as Matt, Matt's favorite driver, my favorite driver, growing up as kids, we want to see Billy Decker race again. Again, I'd love to see that. Shannon asked, Mike, will DTD Live be getting an app in the future for smart TVs? Well, it depends on what kind of smart TV you have. If you go to, when we're talking streaming, if you go to dirttrackdigest.tv/watch, there's a bunch of things there that can help you with how to get it on your TV. If you got a Roku, we're not going to have a Roku app. There's a whole reason why behind that. So the Roku app, Roku Screencast is your best bet if you got a Roku. I can do tech support here too, Matt. But yeah, Roku definitely. If you screencast it, that will be the one that we're not going to have. Just with some of their stuff they did and some of the ways they wanted to do the billing and everything else, that just didn't work for us. Kevin, I agree. We need to get Billy on the show.
Billy's got a face for radio.
So do we. Hasn't stopped us.
True story. I talked to him the other day about it. He was all shy, so I don't know. Maybe he'll come out of his shell one day.
Well, what we'd have to do is get Fuller to come on with him.
Oh, gee, that'll be we'll have to premiere or promote that as a movie. They'll be talking for 3 hours. Yeah.
Eric, we still got a caller on the line. Yeah. All right. Let's bring our buddy Damon in. Yeah, I'm waiting on him. Yeah, there we go. Damon, you're on with Mike and Matt. How we doing tonight, buddy? Oh, you there, Damon? Nope, he's not there. Oh, he just hung up. Dang, we tried. Sorry about that. We got kind of stuck there in that long conversation, and kind of got away from us there a little bit. All right, last topic we're gonna go to again. Damon, sorry about that, buddy. It is my fault. I talk too much. But last thing we'll get to, and I'm sure if anything else comes up in the chat, we'll hop on that too. This weekend, we are finally going to see racing in the Northeast. I'm excited. we're going to see racing in the Northeast. I'm going to go with that because I had a whole rant earlier about weather and worried about the weekend. I'm going to say that we're going to see racing this weekend. And it's going to be Port Royal as the Short Track Super Series kicks off their show, their first event of 2026, March 13th, 14th at Port Royal. Unfortunately, neither of us are going. We'll be at the New York State Fairgrounds for the Syracuse Motorsports Expo. We'll have a booth there. If anybody out there wants to stop by and say hello to us, feel free. Matt's car will be in the DTD booth, along with Kenny Gates. We're going to have Kenny Gates' car there as well in the booth. And I believe Peter Britton's going to have a car in his novelty trailer there. You know, a bunch of other guys bring in their trailers. So I think it's going to be cool. It's going to be a good experience for the fans. So if you can't get out and go to Port Royal and go to the races, or you just, don't want to drive that far, that's okay. Come on out and see us this weekend, Syracuse Motorsports Expo. Tried to get my buddy on tonight to talk, but he was scared we're going to ask him questions about track prep.
That's his forte. You should have been.
Well, right, but then it would have digressed into the race cars, and is it the cars making the track dusty? Is the track prep? We'll see if we corner him. We can corner him this weekend if we have to, and we'll get an interview with him, and we'll play it here and do it that way. But so I was looking, I did some stats, feature nights instead of heat. Well, I'll bring this in, then we'll come back to Port Royal. Okay. Matt, how do drivers feel about double feature nights instead of heats? Fans love it. I'd agree. As a fan, I love it. For you, probably a different story.
So is this, when we rain out a previous week?
Well, some places, what was it? Fonda used to do their championship night as like twin 20s. And then they would line up the features based on handicapping.
Yeah, I mean, that would be kind of cool. That's nothing we've ever done. The only time I've ever run two features is when we're making one up for a rain out. But I think that'd be cool. Yeah. Yeah,
I don't hate it. As a fan, again, you like it. The only problem you have with that is if we talk like dollars and cents for the racetrack, paying two purses, right? If you're doing that the right way, I feel for the drivers, you got to pay two decent purses. You can't, if the feature is normally 35 laps and you're running two, 25 lappers, well, now you're adding all those laps. And if you're just splitting the purse in half or not really paying a lot for each one, it kind of sucks for the drivers. And again, the expense of running two in a night. Now, again, I'd like to see two tracks racing the same day, one in the afternoon, one at night. Never going to happen again, but I can wish. So back to Port Royal. So $12,000 win on Saturday. Friday night, all your qualifying stuff. They have Pro Stocks on the weekend schedule as well, along with the Sportsman for $4,000 to win. Pro Stocks 4 cylinders. So I was looking through the wins list. Dylan Stoyer won last year. I think that was the biggest. I don't know if that was the biggest surprise win of the year in a series event for modifieds, but it had to be up there. Not that Dylan's bad. I'm not no knock on Dylan here. This is just, you look at the names that have won there and the guys that were in that field, and Dylan Stoyer is a shoe. I mean, he dominated Bridgeport.
Yeah, you can't say that you're surprised that he won. He's really good at Middletown. He's good at Bridgeport, like you said, and then obviously he's good here at Port Royal. So to throw his hat in the mix, you can't say you're surprised, and he's definitely a good wheelman.
Yeah, Chris Holsizer, I'll get to your comment in a minute. I will get to it, and we're gonna have a conversation on that. So other winners there. Matt Shepard's a 3-time winner. No shock there. Matt's really, really good there. Matt Williamson, 2-time winner. Stewie's got one, and then the list of ones includes Ryan Godown, Anthony Perego, Ryan Watt, and Mike Mahaney. They've had this will be the 12th time they've been there. So this will be that's 11 feature wins. I think I did my math right when I counted it up. So no shock at who's at the top of this list. Mm-hmm. And for all intents and purposes, probably going to be who's going to be at the top this week. Matt Shepard really didn't start the season as well as he probably would have wanted to. But at the end of the day, it's on American Racers. He's been really good on American Racers. I would assume that he is going to be in the mix for the money on Saturday night. Just going by how things go, normally when he struggles in Florida, he gets back home, and we can't say it was a struggle. I mean, he was on the podium 3 times at All Tech, and pretty much in the top 5 every night at Volusia, other than the one night where he got jingled up in the heat race. Mm-hmm. And Williamson, he would be good there. I don't know if Stu can race this weekend, or I don't know if the trucks are racing. That one I'm not sure. They might be off. I'm not sure. Eric, do you know? Are the trucks racing this weekend? No truck race. So then, hey, I would not be surprised if Stu's there. Ryan Go Down, Parego, Watt. Again, there's some different names on this list. The guys have won. I think some of those were some preliminary night features and stuff like that. But the big two, big three, those are the guys that got the wins. And again, no surprise. And that includes the openers, the speed showcase in the beginning of the year. Then, of course, we had the 200 there for a while, which was fun. I had a great time working pit road the one year I was able to do that. I had a blast working pit road.
I always liked the 200s there, as long as they were at nighttime.
Yeah, daytime is tough, right? Yeah. Nighttime is usually better. I think most places you could say nighttime racing's better. I mean, I don't think that's debatable, really. I mean, I don't think anybody's going to give us crap for that one. I mean, we can take a lot of crap for a lot of dumb things I say on here, but that one's probably not one of them.
Like you calling me out for cheating on Saturday.
You did cheat. We're going to come back to that. I'm not letting that go.
I didn't cheat.
No, you did cheat. Eric, random, but is that where the tow truck accident? Yeah, that was where the tow truck got in an accident last year.
My gosh, I remember that.
Yeah, now that he said it. Mini Quad 22. Any chance we get Billy Decker on sometime? We're trying. Matt's going to work on that. That's going to be Matt's get. Matt says he can get him. And then Jeff Withy, Stu has it listed on his Facebook page. He'll be at Port Royal. So there we go. Question and answers. Thanks, Jeff. I should have checked that page before I made the comment. That would have been on me. So no, Port Royal should be great. I mean, I'm looking forward to, again, I like watching the race in there. I'm sure we'll watch it on Friday and Saturday night, Friday night, getting the cars in the show and everything and all that. And then Saturday we'll watch it wherever we end up once the show closes. I'm sure we'll find ourselves having a few cold ones, watching some racing and then talking about it, etc. So that should be good. All right. Put Chris Holzheiser's comment in here. I'm going on this one, Chris. What would be cool? Delaware style restarts for mods. I've done it with the Grit Sportsman series and I thought it was awesome. I think it sucks. I hate Delaware double file restarts.
Why?
I hate them.
Well, give me the reason.
Because I want to see guys race. I don't want to see the leader out there by himself. This is racing. Not the leader is the leader, so he gets to start by himself. I hate it.
He gets to choose if it's a normal double file, though. He gets to choose where he starts anyways.
That's fine. The lane's fine, but why should he not have somebody next to him? Yeah, see, you're a race it's a show for the fans. It's a show.
I'm not against it.
You like it. Yeah, you would like it. Right? It's called Delaware. It should stay in Delaware. Okay? This is New York.
You are very opinionated.
On that one, I despise Delaware. I despise them. And Chris, no offense to you, buddy. I still love you. But I despise double file restarts. I think it's great that he's the leader. Chris commented again because he's the leader. That's awesome. All right. Every race should be double file. I hate double file. And I can say I put my money where my mouth is because Monster Bash is double file to the end. Double file to the end unless we have back-to-back cautions, and that's trying to speed up the show. That's a different conversation. All right. But Delaware, I hate when they do that. It's like, come on. Give the guy in second a shot. Well, he gets to pick his lane. Bull crap. I don't care.
I think it's a 50-50. I think the guy in second still and third have ample opportunity to make a pass without the leader knowing where he's going.
But again, I'd still rather see them side by side because then you get a little bit of the jockey and you get a little bit of the game. It's the sportsmanship of the race. I love that. You know how many good interviews I get because guys got passed on a restart and I feel like the guy jumped him? They're fantastic.
Hey, what if you went 3 wide and then 2 behind that? What would that look like?
3 wide and 2 behind it?
Yeah, you got 3 in a row and then 2 the rest of the way.
Is this the minivan Matt specialty restart? Is that what we're going to call this one?
Listen, don't throw me under the bus. I'm thinking out of the box here. I asked you what you thought it would look like. How do you think?
I think it'd be wild. It'd be crazy.
3 cars on the front row and 2 behind everybody else.
Yeah, I've seen 3-car starts, right? And they do it at the little 500. It is wild. Mm-hmm. Usually doesn't make it a lap.
So what you're
just saying,
you can't ever go more than 2.
Yeah, right. I think 2 is the max we can handle. Some places are big and wide. You could probably do 3, but I think it'd be crazy. I think Fulton tried it a few years ago, and I do not remember how it went. I don't know if anybody that goes to Fulton. Yeah, how did that go, Chris? Yeah, let's try it at Accord, Jeff Withy. Yeah, I don't know. We're not. Yeah, how did that 3 wide thing go? I'd like to know because I wasn't there. I didn't see it. Then we get into Kevin said, I'd like to see starts at the flag stand. I don't mind the off of turn 4 or, I don't mind the front stretch. I mean, hell, when I was a kid, Fonda used to start off of turn 2 on the back stretch or before you got to turn 3. It was freaking crazy. You could go a whole lap and a half and the yellow comes out and all the passes you made were irrelevant. That was the crazy thing about that. Yeah, it took 3 tries to get going. So, yeah, 3 wide's probably not the way to go. But, again, I am not a Delaware now. No. And then where's the comment? Jeff Megalardo, Delaware does not use it. What's up with that? Because they realized that it's dumb and they stopped using it.
Rant over for Mallett.
That wasn't that bad of a rant. Throughout only wrecked 12 cars. Bobby Sweeney.
I like what Rob said. I think you should put a car seat in the race car for Mike. That's a big ass car seat.
Yeah, it is. It would be. Thanks. Make it I like the subtle fat joke you made there. I saw how you did that.
Hey, you're just a big guy.
Yeah, that's it. That has nothing to do with it. Yep. That's okay. You can make a fat joke here, and I am not offended by you. I've made enough jokes
to get offended.
I'm not getting offended. I made enough jokes at you that I can take a joke from you. I should get I got to get in a race car. I got to do that.
You've never drove one ever?
Never drove one. Go-kart. That's it. That doesn't count though. That's not the same. I know a way I could get
we gotta get you. Oh, TVD figured out how to get in here.
Oh, look at that. Does Mike have a name yet? My nickname? I don't really have a nickname. Everybody just calls me Mallett. Like that's it. I don't know.
I'll figure something out.
You can figure something out.
Anyway, you need to get at least 2 or 3 laps in a car. What's that Chaz guy there? He did a whole spiel on getting in a car. That's got to be you here in like 6 months.
Yeah. By the end of the year, how about that? We'll make a deal. By the end of the year, I will figure out a way. The worst part is, and I'll tell this story. I had a chance back in the day at Afton to get in the car. Mike McCullum used to race modifieds, Makatech guy. Then he started racing Afton when Makatech closed. He gave me, it was like 2 weeks in a row. He's like, hey man, I'll let you run my car at the end of the night. Cool. First night out, rips the whole side right off the race car. He's like, yeah, tonight. Sorry, man. I got to load up. I'm like, no problem. And then the next week goes out. Yeah, Mallett, you can drive my car after the races tonight, Pat. I'm like, Pat says it's cool. We'll leave the lights on. You go out, take some laps. Cool. Goes out, rips the front end out of the thing. And he's like, Mallett, no offense, buddy, but I'm not going to let you drive my car. Like, this is like, it's bad mojo or something. I don't know. So maybe it's better I don't get in a car. Who knows? I mean, poor Gary Tompkins used my face as his pit board at Super Dirt Week and made it like half a lap. He used it at Middletown, made it like 3 laps.
Maybe you're just the bad luck around everybody. You tell me not to suck or you show up and I do terrible. And then this guy tries to offer you a ride and the car doesn't even want to be raced anymore.
Yeah, right. There's the problem, right? So maybe it's better if I don't. Cody Decker. There you go. You can put that one in. This is what Butch Tittle used to call me. Rubber Mallett.
Rubber Mallett.
Yeah, that was his nickname for me, Butch Tittle back in the day. Mimi, Motor Mouth. I do talk a lot. Yeah, Dr. J is a finisher. He would loan you the car after he asked you. Dr. J is a fan of yours. I'm sure he would loan you the car after he asked you how did he look out there earlier in the night. The doctor. I love the doctor. Oh God. Let's see. Did we miss anything else in here? I mean, we're pretty good here. We're working on our hour and 15 minutes here. And I think we got all the topics I wanted to get. Let's see. Just going through the comments, make sure I didn't miss anything. Oh, new comments. Dead blow. Death blow. Yeah, I did give the death blow, Greg. That was me to that poor race car. That was definitely me. All right. Let me look at my notes. See, again, I got notes. I'm looking at them, make sure we hit every topic. Didn't miss anything. I knew again, I was happy with, I knew the Cletus McFarland thing would go. Again, we talked our Port Royal. For those of you who did see, we've talked about Jeff Strunk, last couple of weeks. They did unveil the car. It's the 6 over. Obviously with the Hoffman involved. Doug Hoffman ran the 60 over, all of that. So that kind of factors into that. So that's nice looking race car, nice and blue. and he'll be ready to go back at the old Grandview Speedway. So anything else for the good of the order? Anybody, any other comments here they want to get us to talk about here? We can stay live for a couple more minutes just to see if there's anything else, as everyone's now trying to give me a nickname. Fantastic.
Dead blow hammer.
I guess there's worse things to be called. I've been called worse by students, I can tell you that. Oh, I know what we didn't talk about. You cheating on Saturday. We didn't talk about that. Okay, this is how these guys win. Him and Eric Lee. Okay, we're playing. We're sporting clays. We're shooting in the woods. We're having a good time. One of these stations, the launcher had an issue. Now that station happened to be Matt's thrower, launcher, whatever. Okay, I'm new to the game here. Okay,
over here.
Okay, one of the stations, the thrower. Okay, the pigeon thrower. Am I call it's a pigeon, right? Clay pigeon. Yeah, okay,
pigeon,
see?
Clay bird,
yeah.
whatever.
Bird, okay, allegedly was screwed up. People had problems with it. Now that happened to be the station, me and my partner, Jeremy, we shot fantastic on. I think we missed
only station.
Doesn't matter. We missed like one bird on the whole station.
Yeah, you want to know why?
And this is
because we gave you 18 opportunities. No. And you're only supposed to have 6.
That was Jeremy, for the record. That was Jeremy that got that many opportunities. Mine all went when they were supposed to, for the record.
I was a nice scorekeeper and let you keep doing that.
Yeah, I didn't do it. It was Jeremy's the one that got the shoot, but you were icing them. You get a rhythm up there when you're shooting. You get that first one, second one. With you. There is a rhythm. There's a rhythm. And you were messing with his rhythm because you guys sucked on it. You guys had more. You had zeros. You had all these bad scores. You couldn't get it done. So then afterwards, we got to throw that one out. We had other people had problems on it too. Load of bull crap. And then they win the tournament.
Confirm or deny that the thrower did actually explode and it hit your partner in the leg?
I didn't see
that
it.
Happened.
I don't know what you're talking about. I didn't see
that
it.
Happened.
I know when I threw, I didn't have a problem. I pulled the string. It went. I don't know.
Probably why it broke.
No. I was on it after it broke, watching my midsection because I was waiting for the spring to pop off and hit me.
Yeah. I have a feeling you still would have lost.
I have a feeling we still would have lost too, but it would have been more fun because we would have had more points. I'm just saying. And now our points went up compared to last time. I'm not complaining. We got better.
Oh, you guys did all right.
Yeah, we did okay. We did okay. Huh? We're not going to win. Come on.
We didn't win.
No, but we had fun.
Yeah. No, it is a good time.
We had a good time. Is the flame machine secured? James Rutherford, is the flame machine secured for Monster Bash?
You know who
not
that is,
yet.
Don't you?
Yeah,
Yeah, that's Rutt, Cody's tire guy.
Yeah. Rutt. Don't mess with him. We learned that last week. Flame machine. Yeah, we're gonna have big flames to keep everybody warm. That's what it's gonna be. And it's not gonna be for the drivers to walk through. It's gonna be keep everybody warm at Monster Bash.
They're gonna have a celebration every 6 laps. They're just gonna let the flames go during the modified feature.
Every time you cross the line, flames.
Yeah.
I'm gonna need 700. I'm gonna need a propane truck there just to keep this thing lit so everybody can have fun.
Yeah.
Chris Hawkins, you can jump. Thanks, man. I appreciate it. I don't know if you should let me though. I do not have good luck with that. And now I'm taking some grief here. I'll take this one, Edward. Go ahead. Pop Edwards in. He's giving me crap because I call Peter the Sangria Slingshot at times. I will say though,
an awesome name like Batman. Stop calling him something else. Yeah.
Yeah,
I'm with that guy. Whoever Edward Morris is, I'm with you.
Yeah, that's fine. That's fine. You can hate it. I get it. But I'm only saying I used it at Eastern States the one year and he won the small buck race. That's all. But he does have an awesome nickname. Batman is pretty good. That's why I said the Catman for you, but you don't like it. Shotgun. Yeah. New nickname has been born. Shotgun Mallett. No, I'm not that good. I'm terrible. But again, we hit more targets than we hit last time, but it still was not very good. I on a scale of 1 to 10, I am a -2. But I did win around a knockout and win like $12. Yes, I did. That's right. I won. So the old phrase, sun shines on a dog's butt every once in a while, shined on mine for one game.
Yeah.
And after that, I'm out.
Before and after that.
Yeah, before and after that. Yeah. The one time I'm like, oops, safety's on.
Did you end up shooting one of those reloads I gave you?
I did. I shot one of them.
Yeah, boy.
I know what? No bruise on my arm. I'm getting
Can't
better.
be
I kept the gun in tight. Right here's a little sore, but not bad. Not bad. I'm getting closer to not sucking as much, but still got to practice the ones that go side to side. I'm terrible at those. The ones that throw, you got to lead it by like 4 feet, and I'm like trying to aim right at it and miss it by 4 feet behind it. But I'm getting there.
Well, sure.
All right. Let's wrap this one up. We've talked about guns. You cheating now, so everybody knows. I want to get that on the record. You and Eric Lee. Okay, make sure we got that on the record.
On the record, we shoot at the targets. Somebody else keeps our score, so it's not us cheating.
No, you just happen to have zeros on that one. I know because I wrote them down.
You did try and screw me out of my score. You said, "Oh, Eric didn't shoot. That's a 0, right?" I said, "No, That's another 2."
Whatever. I was right at the end. Don't worry about it. So let's make
studies.
All right, let's make picks for Port Royal since we got nothing else left to do here.
Mm-hmm.
Eric, you got a pick for Port Royal?
8 pick or 3 picks?
I don't know. What do you want to make? It's only one night, right?
True.
The feature's on Saturday, right? I believe. Hold on. Let me double check the order of events. I can do that because they have it on the website.
Oh, he took mine.
Did he take Shepard?
No.
Driver info.
I was going for a new winner.
All right. Let me go to the Speed Showcase schedule and pricing. I'm assuming it'll be under that. Again, all this is available on the Short Track Super Series website. They do have practice Friday morning. So let's see. Friday morning, sweep, hot laps, qualifying. Yeah, so it's heat races for the modified sportsman and pro stocks on Friday night. So they're not really heat races. They're like 15 laps or whatever they are, 20 laps.
Yeah, the qualifiers.
Yeah. They're good. And then again, Saturday racing starts at 3. The sportsmen are going to go. Pro stocks are going to go 25 laps. 4 cylinders are 20 laps. Sportsmen are 40, and the mods are 60 laps for 12,000 to win. That's not too shabby.
He took
60 laps.
Yankowski. I'm taking Stu.
He took Yankowski. Oh God. Durr. Eric, do 3 car starts at the monster, but 0 chance, buddy. Not going to happen. We have 600s that day, and they had a tough time this year. We're not doing anything 3 wide. All right, so let me write these down so I make sure we got them right. So you took Yankowski, or Eric took Yankowski.
Hang on a minute. Did they say what time the race starts on Saturday?
Looks like it's at night because I'm looking at it. 3:00 is when your consies are run, and the mod feature looks like it's last based on the order of events that's posted.
Boy, I don't know. It might still be run during the day.
It might still be sunny, but
I'm taking Stu.
All right, so you're taking Stu.
Yep. I was going to take Yankowski, but
who am I going to take? I wonder. This should be an inevitable easy one to pick, considering. But then last year Dylan Stoyer won, so that makes it a little different. You got to think.
My gut honestly told me to pick Perego. I'm not going to lie.
Perego.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which mat do I go with? I'm going right inside that box. I'll take Shepard. There we go. I'm going to go way out on a limb, and that's where I'm going. That work?
Sure.
And then next week we can talk about it, and we can get through it. So I think that'll be a wrap. What do you think? Anything else for the good of the order in here? Looking through, make sure I didn't miss anything. I think I got everybody's comments. Again, thanks everybody for joining us. Again, we wanted to have a show tonight without a guest, just to kind of do some more talking. Like, when we get a guest, we tend to go long and do a lot of long interviews. So, got to work on that a little bit probably so we can give all the fans a chance to ask questions, etc. And what will be good is next week we will have some racing to talk about. Mm-hmm. And I'm excited about that. I am definitely excited to see some cars go in a circle again. It feels like Volusia was like months ago.
It really does.
It was not even a month ago. So, but all right. Well, that works for me, buddy. That worked for you.
Mm-hmm.
Eric, that worked for you. Eric's happy. If Eric happy, you're happy. I'm happy. So for our producer, Eric Schneck, for Matt Smith, My name is Mike Mallett from Monday Night Modified, saying so long for now.
From Niagara to the Hudson, from Champlain to Erie, from nuclear to farming, High Torque of New York is your one-stop shop for torque tool and industrial bolting needs. Easily loosen or achieve accurate torque and bolt load with pneumatic, battery, or hydraulic-powered units. Serving every industry, mining and aggregates, transportation, energy, structural steel, and rail. On-site torque wrench calibration and repair, sales and rentals, training, bolting solutions, and more.
DirtTrackDigest.tv is your #1 source for watching dirt track racing live or on demand from anywhere.
Johnson, and they make contact!
On your smartphone, tablet, computer, or TV. DirtTrackDigest.tv is the ultimate streaming experience for race fans, brought to you by race fans. DirtTrackDigest.tv. If it's on dirt, it's on DirtTrackDigest.tv.